Well, hello again there, Cancer. It's September 2022, Dodici here with your forecast. And we see here the immediate movement of Venus into its weak sign of Virgo. That takes place on the 5th of the month. This third house, where you'll notice Venus moves to, is the house of communication. And Venus is regulating, amongst other places, your friendships and domestic activities. And that's also important because if you keep your eye out here on Mercury, it's going to move into a retrograde motion just after we see Venus moving into this third house of communication. So problems arise, there it is there, the 5th. Problems can arise with Venus moving into the weak portion of the horoscope, sign of communication, and relating to your friendships and your domestic activities. Mercury makes its retrograde motion on the 11th, so that may not be noticeable there until Mercury moves into its retrograde motion and you start to do a whole lot of rethinking about the way you're dealing with your family, with your friends. Of course, Mercury is a planet of communication, of thought. So these two parts of your horoscope, Mercury in the 4th, Venus and the Sun in the 3rd, all relate to the way you communicate. There's a full moon here on the 10th, which is also influencing this third house. The 9th house is more the higher mind, the way you expand your horizons, tertiary education, long journeys, legal matters, philosophical and moral obligations and that type of thing. But it still influences the way you think. So I think there's a big shift this month. There could be some problems with the way you communicate or the way your friends are communicating. There can be misunderstandings associated with that. And so therefore the full moon shines a light on that and probably requires you to step out of the fray and think about things from a completely lateral viewpoint. We notice the moon gets darker here. There you'll see on the 14th. It's also having its influence there on the North Node, and Uranus showing some abrupt changes in the nature of your relationships, although that also has nice favourable influence to Venus and the Sun in that third house. So something could change rather suddenly around those dates where the communication opens up. That still doesn't leave you free of some of the reappraisal energy which is found tied in with this retrograde Mercury in your 4th house. Real estate issues, fixed assets like your land, your house, rental agreements, communication with family members. That's the job of Mercury here, retrograde in that 4th house. 4th house is the northern part of your horoscope. And therefore, issues relating to the northern direction may be part of what you're going to experience this month. The 19th, we see Mercury in opposition to Jupiter. Generally, that shows you should shut your cake hole. You're going to say maybe too much, especially, again, it's relating to this retrogression. But Jupiter's also retrograde. So we've got two retrograde planets, sort of both moving in what appears to be reverse motion, influencing your home life, but also there in the 10th house, your career and the way you communicate to your bosses and your employers, and also your co-workers, because Jupiter has an intimate link here with this 6th house. 6th house is co-workers, the workplace, the arrangements you have there, workplace agreements and that type of thing. So the less said, the better. Especially there, we see, speaking about workplace agreements, the transit of the retrograde Mercury into the 3rd house. I didn't mention that apart from that being your rational thinking mind, we see that you have contractual obligations there that may need to be reappraised. That again, I think, is tied in with your work and the associates you sort of come in close contact with, people that work for you, people that serve you in some capacity. The new moon occurs on the 26th there in the 4th house, and that shows a new development in your family affairs. If you've had some problems there with those transits we've been talking about through your reading, I think you can start to see, at least, probably even though Mercury is still retrograde, some breakthrough, but that will be more noticeable when Mercury makes its forward motion early in the next month. So there we see Sun also moving into the 4th house. A lot of energy focus on this area of your horoscope in the latter part of the month up till the 30th. And if you need to find out more, why not pop over to astrology.com.au. You can get the rest. I didn't say much about your relationships. There'll be something on that there in the chronological list of transits that we have there. Please subscribe, tell your friends, drop me a note if you've got any questions, technically or otherwise. If you need a personalized reading, I'm here to help accommodate that as well. And I'll see you next month. Bye-bye for now.